The Super Bowl's tomorrow, which means we got to do another mock draft, which I say that every single day. So we're drafting the first round for all 32 teams. But we're going to get a little creative with it as we try to break the NFL draft. Before we dig in, though, you need to click that subscribe button right now because we're looking at the NFL draft every day for your dynasty rookie drafts. And also so you can get more information on these prospects. Click that button, stop missing out. But we're digging in right now. We are doing the first round. And we're doing things a little bit differently. If you're new here, we do mock drafts on the PFF simulator often. So you're seeing the teams here to the left, players to the right, and the Titans are on the clock. So usually, we go over here, we select our quarterback. Yeah. Shedeur Sanders sometimes if we want to be a little different. Usually Cam Ward, though. Usually Cam Ward, but not today. Not today. So when I say that, do you think Travis Hunter? I think today we're going to do things a little bit different. We're going to be a little spicy. Spicy. Abdul Carter coming off the board. And why? Why? Because I haven't done it yet. I haven't done it yet, honestly. So we're trying to make this a little different. And honestly, when we look at like the top 3 to 5 players, he's a top 3 player, top 2 player, top 1 talent though. Top 1 talent though. Why not? Why not? Why not patch this up in free agency and get the Abdul Carter, get yourself a stud, and roll with it? Browns are now on the clock. So now you got something different coming off the board here. So usually, and you see this in a lot of mock drafts too, Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders. Or you see Cam Ward, Abdul Carter. Or you see Cam Ward, and you'll see Travis Hunter. I think today, we are going Cam Ward, so we got a little shakeup at the time. And now we're looking at the New York Giants. The New York Giants. Do we go Shedeur here? Do we go Travis Hunter? QB is a position of need, and New York would be a fun destination for Shedeur Sanders. That would be a very fun destination. Seems a little simple to make. However, Shedeur Sanders would fall down the board here. Maybe Jets, probably Raiders if we goes a little farther. Unless he nosedives. Unless he nosedives in this draft. We're not doing trades today. We will in the future. We will in the future mess around with that for content's sake. What else could we go with Travis Hunter? Travis Hunter can add you a good element at defensive back on top of wide receiver. I think we're going to do it. We're going to go Shedeur Sanders. We're just doing that. Not because I got him 3 overall, because I don't. It's because I'm doing things a little different. I think I only mocked him to the Giants once so far in these videos. So I'm just trying to make this a little different, but yet still be plausible. Patriots are now on the clock. And now I'm looking at all the picks. Mason Graham, T-Mac. I usually go with one of those two. Too much T-Mac. Too much T-Mac. However, you look at that, you see wide receiver. You see wide receiver. Travis Hunter can play wide receiver. And you need a good wide receiver. T-Mac's a good wide receiver, but Travis Hunter is a DB too. How about you have him play on both sides of the ball? You got a guy that's money, and you got something to build off of. Maybe you picked up another wide receiver in free agency. It's a weak wide receiver free agency class, but maybe something happens. Maybe you go Travis Hunter, T. Higgins, or something like that. Maybe that happens in this scenario. Maybe that happens in this timeline. Maybe we go Travis Hunter, and we play like 20 routes a game at wide receiver, and the rest of the time, or all the time, we're at cornerback. Maybe we do that. And we're not built really well at wide receiver, but we got Kayshon Boutte, who ran 90% of the routes in the back half of the season. Seems like he's building a good rapport with Drake May. Maybe you have that, Travis Hunter, and we're just building for the future. Let's do that. That's something different. That's something different. It's creative, and there's a possibility for that. I usually mock Travis Hunter to the Jaguars. However, he's not going to the Jaguars anymore because he's going to the Patriots. When I look at the Jaguars, what could I do here? T-Mac, Mason Graham, Will Johnson. I think Mason Graham makes a lot of sense. I think he makes a lot of sense for the Jaguars. Come on down. Now we're on the clock with the Raiders. The Raiders on the board. They're looking at what's available. What's one thing they really needed last year? one big position of need. We got two of them looking at us in the face. We can pretty much fill all of them right now, maybe even quarterback. But T-Mac's right there. I usually don't have T-Mac falling this far, but there's a good possibility that could happen. Defensive side of the ball is pretty good. Let's roll with T-Mac. T-Mac's looking good. Now we're looking at the Jets, and they're very interesting. We're looking at Aaron Rodgers. How long are you going to be there? We're looking at defensive back. We got some players there on the board that we can get. Defensive line, there's going to be some players there. Running back, we're good. Wide receiver, Devontae Adams, are we going to stay? But T-Mac just went off the board. So if Aaron Rodgers is planning on being there another year, you're trying to get you a player that can play now. If he's gone, then you got to make some moves. You got to make some stuff happen. That being said, Aaron Rodgers might be there for another season, and you're probably not looking to pick up your quarterback now, considering it's not a strong quarterback class. I think Will Johnson would probably be the pick for them. Now we're looking at the Carolina Panthers. PFF has defensive line DB. DB's an interesting spot for them. Defensive line's always the money grab when you're looking at that. Looking at the top available players on the board, James Pierce, Luther Burden, Mike Green has been hot. Josh Simmons, Tyler Warren, Amika Ibuka, Kelvin Banks. Benjamin Morrison has been climbing the ranks. We've been drafting him nonstop this year. When I look at the Carolina Panthers, I'm looking at what could go their way and what I haven't drafted for them so far. Maybe it's time we go a little bit early. Mike Green's been hot, like I said. And maybe we got hot enough after the Senior Bowl. He was looking good. Let's pull that trigger, and now the Saints are on the clock. Tight end, wide receiver, defensive line. It's not a deep wide receiver class. It tears off rather quickly. I see the guy Luther Burden on the screen. I also see Tyler Warren. I think those are two possibilities there. Defensive line. You got edge if you want to go that route for defensive line. If you want to go interior, kind of up a ways. I think Luther Burden is ahead of a lot of wide receivers in this draft, especially for how they can play him for the short to intermediate and also stretch it deep with him. When you got Chris Olave, I think those two wide receivers could pair well in this offense. I think Tyler Warren's a very good tight end prospect. He could go well here. I'm going to go with Luther Burden. I have mocked him to the Saints, but I think that's been a long time ago. Now we're looking at the Bears. I've mocked Ashton Jeanty to them before. I just can't do that again. I can't do it again. So we're looking at what's available, and my man James Pierce is there. Ready to go. I like James Pierce, one of my favorite players. He's been a riser. He's been a riser for us when they had him outside the first round here on PFF. And we knew he was going to rise their rankings. I've drafted Josh Simmons to them. Will Campbell. I have, but not too much. And I think offensive line for the Bears, Caleb Williams, I think getting that tackle is going to be huge for them. And I think he's not going to be there realistically in this spot. I think he's going to go earlier off the board. We're going to the Bears. Niners are on the clock. There's a lot of things the Niners can do here. Defense, tackle. We do have Josh Simmons there. We have some other tackles on the board too. Down here like a Calvin Banks. So you can trade back and still get a guy if you want to go that route. Defensive line, if you're looking for the interior. It's down there a ways. Walter Nolan has been climbing. He's been looking good though. Kenneth Grant. Walter Nolan, a lot of people are talking him up right now. We were talking about him in some of our mocks as well. He's been climbing the board. When I think about the Niners, I think about going offense here. And I think about Josh Simmons. And I think he would be fitting well with the 49ers offense. Come back from that knee injury. I think that's a good selection for them. Gets them a tackle for the long term. Cowboys are on the clock. Running back is a huge position to need. This running back class is too deep. It's way too deep. I think wide receivers zapped right now for where they're at in the draft. I think this is a good spot. If the draft ends up any way, shape, or form like this, for them to trade back some picks, pick up some more picks, which is something this team should do to get more capital to build their team. And that's something they need to think about. If I'm here on the clock and I'm looking at what I need and what's available versus what talent is there, James Pierce can't fall any farther. I think James Pierce is a good selection for them. I think he can help them on defense. I think he gets them an extra pass rush. I think he helps them out for the long term. Also for the short term with the talent, I think he helps them out a lot. We're looking at the board now for the Dolphins here. PFF has tackle, guard, interior defensive line, and safety. Starks has fallen down the draft a bit. Usually does not fall this far for me. Once he did, and it was way too far. That was a few drafts ago. Not today. He's a Dolphin. He's a Dolphin. Colts are on the clock. Usually Tyler Warren gets mocked to the Colts. I see a lot of mock drafts. He goes to the Colts. We can't do that today. We got to make it different. We got to make it different. We got to change things up. Benjamin Morrison has been climbing up the board. And he could be in a good spot for the Colts if you're looking for that. Michael Williams has been climbing up the board. Shamar Stewart's been looking good lately. You got Jack Sawyer, who's a big-time 5-star recruit. Really finished the year out strong for Ohio State. I think when I'm looking at this, I think I'm going to give my man some love. Benjamin Morrison, when he was ranked almost outside the first round, we were hammering that button a lot. Let's put him to the Colts. I don't think this is really that realistic, but it is kind of realistic. I think if you're going to go not Tyler Warren, you're going to go edge. Or maybe even interior defensive line. Maybe out of Walter Nolan. Now that I think about Walter Nolan's gotten so hot that an interior defensive lineman, and just even in the beginning of his career just giving blows, I think that's a good get. Let's go with the market saying, hey, this guy's hot, and we're going to pull the trigger on here and go with the talent. The Falcons are now on the clock. And what if they got rid of Kyle Pitts? What if he left via trade and they drafted Tyler Warren? That would be rather interesting. That would be a fun pick. That could potentially happen. That could be realistic. And we said we were going to try and break this draft. Would they spend another first round on a tight end? There's a lot of tight ends in this draft. Why would I make this pick when I can go all these other positions? Get locked down on all these other positions and grab a tight end in the second round. And there's good talent there. We saw the talent at the Senior Bowl. It's hard to make this move on a Tyler Warren this early. In this scenario, we traded Kyle Pitts. Or maybe we double up. Maybe we do that because we do have a young quarterback. We're trying to get him weapons. If we're also trying to get him weapons, Emeka Egbuka. But getting something extra at the tight end spot, getting some talent there. We're looking at edge. It's cleared out a little bit, but not too bad. We can make some picks here. There's something to do. Let's do it. Tyler Warren to the Falcons. So if someone's just really just breezing through this video, just looking for the picks, let's confuse them a little bit. Cardinals are now on the clock. We're looking at what's available. Kelvin Banks is there. He's usually not there for the Cardinals. And we're going to run to the podium and make that pick. I think that's an easy one there. Bengals are on the clock. Emeka Egbuka's available. However, when I think about that, we've made that pick to the Bengals too many times. He's fallen down the board. But really, talent-wise, this is probably about the range for him. Benjamin Morrison kind of makes sense. I think we're going to go Michael Williams for him, for the Bengals. We're just going to go there. We're going to move him around the defensive line. We're going to get some blows in. We're going to just draft the talent over need and see what happens. Seattle's now on the clock. Edge, linebacker. Shamar Stewart's been hot. We're going to roll with that pick for the Seattle Seahawks. The Bucs are now on the clock here, and we can go a number of different ways. Benjamin Morrison makes sense. He does make sense here. However, I've drafted and mocked him to the Bucs way too many times. I think Jack Sawyer, with that strong finish in the college football playoffs, makes it very interesting for the Bucs. And now the Broncos are on the board. Did Tyler Warren get drafted yet? Did we draft him? We drafted Tyler Warren already, right? Yeah, he went to the Falcons. Emeka Egbuka, though, to Bo Nix. That is making a ton of sense. And I did not plan that out to be. We're going to have to make that pick. That is happening. Steelers are now on the clock. This is a good chance for them to draft Ashton Jeanty. I've done it way too many times. Benjamin Morrison, Notre Dame, seems like he could be a Steeler. Seems like he could play like a Steeler. Chargers are now on the clock. Running back is a position of need. It was a big position of need. Ashton Jeanty coming off the board to the Chargers. How nasty would this team be? I don't see him falling all the way down to 22. I feel someone's going to trade up and make a move for him. I feel like something's going to happen. But there's a lot of talent here in this draft where you got to take advantage of it, where running back's so deep you can let him fall a little bit. You can definitely do that in some cases here. Packers are now on the clock. Wide receiver, you can kind of wait on that a little bit for this team. Center, you can wait on that. You got edge and DB. Benjamin Morrison just went off the board, though. And we're looking at what's at the top here. Nick Scorton's still there. Tyleik Williams. He's good for everybody. He's that good. Jahdae Barron's there. Colston Loveland, you're kind of good at tight end. You're very good at tight end. We all know that. Donnie E is there from Boston College. And things are starting to thin out. So when I look at this, and I look at what's available, I think for them, you either just get Kenneth Grant and roll with it, or you go with Nick Scorton. I think Nick Scorton to the Packers, he kind of sounds like a Packer. Kind of looks like a Packer when you think about it. And now the Vikings are on the clock. Running back is a huge position of need, but that could be waited on. And cornerbacks thinning out. Defensive line is definitely there. And teams behind them need defensive line as well. I think Kenneth Grant coming off the board. Not sexy at all for the Vikings, but that's what we're going to roll with. Texans are now looking at what's available here, trying to make their pick, trying to see what they can do. Interior offensive line, per PFF, is a need. That is not where we're going in the first round. Nobody's doing that in the first round this year. And Tyleik Williams is on the board. That is the position we're going to make. That is what we're going to hit. I think he's being underranked here by PFF. I think he's a good get there, a big body that you can have on the defensive line. And you can always have extra defensive linemen when they're that talented. The Rams are on the clock. And the easy pick here for the Rams. You either go tackle, which we've done a few times, but Colston Loveland to the Rams. Just getting another pass catcher. You're dealing Cooper Kupp. This isn't a stout wide receiver class, but you're getting a stout tight end to help with the short to intermediate once he gets developed. Man, your offense is going to be back to ticking good. So we're going to be doing that. Ravens are now on the clock, and we're going to be the Ravens. We're going to take the value that comes to us. We're going to draft Armand from Missouri. We're going to keep it rolling here. That's what I expect the Ravens to do. Get another tackle, take the talent that falls to them. A position of need, but not a huge one. Lions are on the clock. They could literally do anything because they can really make your head scratch sometimes, and those are the picks that usually work out for them over the long run. That being said, we got some tackles available. We got some edges down here. We got a lot available here. Demetrius Knight has been climbing the board as of late. That could be a position to go with. We got some edges down that way. I believe if I'm the Lions and I'm looking at this, I think Knight might be the pick. Considering talent, position of need, what you're getting at, I believe that might be the pick for them. Washington's on the clock. Who could they draft at this spot? And I believe you got a young quarterback. You want more tackle talent. I think you're going to go Gray Zabel, and you're going to go off the board there and get your guy to keep your quarterback upright. Bills are looking for a wide receiver. They need one in the worst way, because this is not the class to do so. Interior defensive line. There's some prospects here, but it's a little bit of a reach right now. DB is there. There's some good talent at DB. Linebacker kind of got zapped a little bit. Maybe you make that pick for Matthew Golden and you roll with it. You get yourself a Trey Amos. I like him. Jahdae Brown. Maybe you roll with him. Maybe you do something like that. You pick up some wide receivers a little bit later in the draft. That's what I'm going to do right now. Eagles are now on the clock. Wide receiver, guard, edge. Looking down here at edge, that's something I could see them do. Donnie E is available from Boston College. Landon Jackson, my boy Prince, is there. That is something we could look at. I think Matthew Golden's been hot with a lot of draft analysts. I don't want to feel like I'm sleeping on him. I haven't mocked him too crazy in a lot of mocks. I think him going to the Eagles, getting them that extra wide receiver depth at the beginning might help them out a lot. Might help them. And now we're looking at the Chiefs. The Chiefs are one of these teams that can make one of those random picks, one of those luxury picks. And I want to look at the running back position. And I know a guy for you guys that could help them out a lot with what they do on the field. Trevion Henderson. Good at catching ball out of the backfield. He's got speed to burn. Would fit well with the Chiefs. He would blow up draft Twitter. He would finish the night off. He'd be a lot better than Clyde Edwards-Helaire when he did that. And there we are. That is the first round of the 2025 NFL Draft. A lot of picks off the board. We started off a little bit different. We're trying to make this different at least every time, or have different scenarios. That's the name of the game with these mock drafts. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Make sure to hit that subscribe button on the way out. Thank you for watching. Catch you on the next video.